the union buildings. I'm not sure if you can see that, but that in terms of the constitution is where the executive authority lies in the office of the president. But some waking up this morning, of course, asking themselves if that continues to be the case, or does executive authority lie elsewhere, perhaps in Saxonwold, Johannesburg. In terms of the briefing that are supposed to happen, it's traditional that at the end of a cabinet meeting, the minister in the presidency, Jeff Radebe, briefs the media on the outcomes of cabinet. Yesterday we were told that that briefing has now been cancelled. Instead, there will be a statement issued by cabinet. So it's something that does happen from time to time, but generally the tradition is at the end of a cabinet meeting there is a briefing to allow journalists to pose questions directly and seek clarity on some matters and decisions taken by cabinet. But it seems this time around cabinet deciding and government deciding that a statement will suffice.
All right, and then just looking at the reaction from the state, Thulas. I mean, we heard one analyst say earlier that he's expecting the ANC will close ranks around the president, the argument being that there was no clear link between him and the Guptas. But it hasn't been so much the case. We have seen, especially on social media, that they have come out and said that they will deal with this as a matter of urgency at the NEC meeting over the weekend. And we've seen other sentiment expressed by certain ANC members as well on social media.
Absolutely, Yuveka. Let's start with the presidency. On Tuesday night, issuing two statements, and the third one, which was really a correction of the second statement, in reaction, of course, to Fakey Mentor's revelation on social media. This is the former ANC MP who claims that she was offered a position of Minister of Public Enterprises by the Gupta family. At that point, the presidency issued two statements denying any knowledge of this and saying that the president has no recollection of Ms. Fakey Mentor, and therefore the question of the president being in the other room, in another room in Saxonwold when the Guptas allegedly made this offer to Fakey Mentor, doesn't even arise. But we've seen that since Mcebisi Jonas's statement yesterday, we've not heard anything from the presidency, not even a statement coming out of the presidency. But the discussion around the influence of the Guptas is going ahead. The ANC is saying that this will be thrashed out at its meeting of the National Executive Committee meeting this coming weekend, starting tomorrow. You'll remember that the ANC's top officials, the top six, met with the Gupta family some 2 weeks ago to seek explanation. This was revealed, of course, by Jeff Radebe, who is head of policy in the ANC. And so we expect that that will be thrashed out. There's been, of course, reaction from members of the NEC, some members of the NEC, Jackson Mthembu being one of them, saying that who do the Guptas think they are, and saying he actually believes what Mcebisi Jonas has said. So has Derek Hanekom, also an NEC member, who has come forward and said he actually believes the version of events as presented by Mcebisi Jonas, as well as the South African Communist Party.
Well, Thulas, does it not almost seem that, I mean, we know that they are friends with the Zuma family, the Guptas, and they haven't very much said more after that, other than that we are friends, and yes, we do. My son does work there and all of that. But does it not seem now like maybe the tables will turn on the Guptas? Is that the feeling we're getting?
Well, you see, this is the difficulty, Yuveka. I mean, in terms of the latest claim by Mcebisi Jonas, for example, this suggests that, the Guptas, the Gupta family knew in advance, before what has now come to be known as 9/12, that there was going to be a vacancy in the finance ministry. If of course, Mcebisi Jonas's claims do stand up to scrutiny and are eventually proven to have been true, this really suggests that the Gupta family ought to have known beforehand that there was going to be a vacancy in the finance ministry, which raises the question of how exactly they knew that, because the only person in terms of the Constitution, Section 91 of the Constitution, says the president is the one who appoints cabinet ministers. So this is really the prerogative of the president. How did the Guptas know that there was going to be such a vacancy? So, it's a really tight corner for the Gupta family at this point, with many people rallying against their perceived influence. Of course, the family itself denying that they willed this kind of influence, saying that they made no offers of jobs to anyone in government. Certainly Fake Mentor and also Mcebisi Jonas saying that, even calling into question Mcebisi Jonas's own moral standing, saying that revelations will come forward, that they are confident that revelations will come forward that will prove that Mcebisi Jonas himself is not upstanding.
All right, well, who's telling the truth and who's lying? Thanks very much, eNCA's Thulasizwe Simelane. Time now for a short break. We'll bring you more on this big story when we come back.